Man paralyzed in the lower half of his body. In order to be with his girlfriend forever, he made his girlfriend paralyzed too. Looking at his girlfriend crawling on the floor, this pervert has a satisfied smile on his face. The man's name is Jack. He is an ambulance paramedic. This was supposed to be a respectable profession, but his hands and feet are not clean. He often took valuables from patients during the emergency, and then sold them to second-hand dealers. However, such a person with bad conduct. He has a girlfriend with beautiful skin and long legs. But Jack is a very suspicious man. He was always suspicious of his girlfriend, Jenny. He always thinks that she has someone outside. That's why Jack is always looking through her cell phone secretly. Even the moment Jenny left the house, he would also peek through the cat's eye to see what she was doing. That night, Jack and his colleague were working the night shift. A wounded man was rescued in the car. On the way, the wounded man's condition deteriorated. Jack rushed to his rescue. When the driver turned his head to check the situation, a truck crashed into him. Jack's lower body was paralyzed. There was little chance of recovery. The two of them hugged and cried. Jenny did not abandon Jack afterwards. On the contrary, she took better care of Jack's life. Despite his disability, he had a low self-esteem. Suspiciousness became more and more serious. Even when Jenny answered the phone, he had to ask questions. Seeing Jenny dressed up so beautifully every day, Jack suspected she must have a man outside, so Jack deliberately distracted Jenny. He got Jenny's phone. He installed hacking software on the phone. After Jenny went to work, he turned on his computer and monitored Jenny's every move. After Jack was paralyzed, the family lost their income. Jenny took care of all the expenses for both of them. She goes to school during the day. She had to work part-time in customer service at night. When Jenny told Jack she was quitting a part-time job to take up an internship, Jack was adamantly opposed, because it would take away her source of income. He yelled at Jenny. No one understands how hard he works. But considering Jack's current situation, Jenny did not want to argue with him. At night, Jack woke up with a painful wound on his lower body. He opened the bottle and found that the painkillers had already been taken. He rushed to call Jenny, but the phone did not answer. He gets into his wheelchair and goes to the kitchen. He found a new bottle of painkillers in the cupboard. After taking the pills, he opened the refrigerator and swallowed them with milk. Then he hid the painkillers in secret. Then he sat in a wheelchair and waited for Jenny. When Jenny came home from her night shift, Jack began to accuse Jenny of not answering the phone, and he didn't have any painkillers for him. Jenny explained that she had left them in the cupboard. When she opened the cupboard, the bottle of pills disappeared. Jenny had to go downstairs to the drugstore to buy them, and Jack did it to make Jenny feel guilty about not leaving her side. This man's lower body is paralyzed, but he has a long-legged girlfriend. Jack is a jealous man, even of the dog. The girlfriend just strokes the dog. He sticks a needle into a steak. Then he fed the steak to the puppy while the neighbor was out walking the dog. Jack continued to tap Jenny's phone at night. Jenny was on the phone with her best friend. The girlfriends were all about separation, not peace. When he heard Jenny talking about the painkillers, the girlfriend said he was a cripple, and told her to leave Jack early, and Jenny didn't agree. Realizing that Jenny might leave him, Jack prepared a candlelight dinner in rest for Jenny. He said a lot of sweet things to Jenny. He told her he would support her in her internship. He told Jenny to review his recent behavior, and so Jenny forgave Jack. While Jack was in the bathroom taking a shower, Jenny was on the couch talking to her friend on her cell phone. When she received the message, she noticed that there were voices coming from the room. Jenny went to her room and turned on her computer. She found that Jack had been watching her. Jenny felt very scared. She rushed to pack her bags and left the place. When Jack came out of the bathroom, he found that Jenny was not in the room. Looking at the open laptop, Jack understood everything. A few months later, Jack lived alone. He didn't go looking for Jenny, because he understood that this is his own creation. But he couldn't stop thinking about Jenny, so Jack took a cab to Jenny's house. He found Jenny with a man, and Tom, the driver who paralyzed his lower body. The two ride off on a motorcycle. Jack followed behind them. He found them in a mom and pop store. It was obvious that Jenny was pregnant. Looking at the two lovingly, Jack had a terrible thought. He bought a large amount of anesthetic through a former colleague at the hospital. Then he went to Jenny's workplace and met her by chance. He said he would not disturb her life anymore. He also sells himself to gain Jenny's sympathy. The kind-hearted Jenny sent Jack home. When they arrived downstairs, Jack lied to Jenny that her passport was at home. So Jenny followed Jack back to the house. Jenny had just turned around to look for her passport. Jack took the needle from under the table and followed Jenny into the room. The man pinned the woman down on the bed and she stopped moving. When she woke up again, she found herself tied to the bed. Jenny was scared and struggled desperately. In order not to let the neighbors find out, Jack turned on the stereo and turned up the sound. Let Jenny struggle on the bed. Then Jack closed the door. He found Jenny's cell phone in his bag. After sending a breakup text to Tom, he threw the phone into the river. By the time Jack got home, Jenny was too weak to struggle. He pulled off the towel covering Jenny and took out the cloth from her mouth. Before he could say a few words to Jenny, Jenny directly shouted for help. Jack quickly covered her mouth and sealed her mouth again. Then Jack took out another injection. He gave her another shot in the arm. Jenny soon fell asleep. The next day Jenny woke up, found that she had lost the feeling of her legs. It turned out that Jack had temporarily rendered her unconscious in order to keep her from leaving him. Temporarily left her unconscious. Looking at Jenny crawling on the floor, Jack's perverted heart was satisfied. At the end of the day, Jack had prepared a candlelight dinner. Jenny pretended to obey Jack. Then she picked up a bottle of wine and hit Jack. Then Jenny climbed out of bed and crawled towards the door, and opened it screaming for help. Jack came in his wheelchair, and gave her a shot in the buttocks. Jenny passed out again. Just then the doorbell rang. Opened the door, and it was the old man next door. The old man said he heard Jenny's cry for help. He insisted on entering the door to check. Jack had to open the door. The old man walked into the house, and saw Jenny lying on the floor. Jack gave him a knife in the back. So the old man got his lunch. Then Jack picked up the phone, called the social boss. The old man was put in a box and disposed of. The next day the police came to Jack's house to investigate. It turned out that Jenny's boyfriend, Tom, had called the police. He suspected that Jack had kidnapped Jenny, but Jack was prepared, and Jack was disabled. After a few questions the police left. This incident made Jack feel he had to get rid of Tom. He got the key from Jenny's bag, left in Tom's house. He put him down with a narcotic. He poured some potion into him, and a lot of liquor to create the illusion that Tom had committed suicide. A few days later, Jenny stopped fighting Jack. Jack also gave her a wheelchair and they lived together. This is just Jenny pretending to be submissive. Jenny found a nail clipper and she went to the bathroom and hid it on her person. At night when Jack went out to buy something, Jenny used the nail clipper to cut the rope. Then she went to the door and used a screwdriver to pick the lock. Then she opened the door and escaped. I didn't expect to come to the elevator, meet Jack who came back. Jenny was terrified and rushed to climb downstairs. Jack chased after Jenny. He grabbed Jenny's ankle. Jenny bit in the palm of his hand, then pushed him through the gap in the railing. Jack held Jenny in a panic. He didn't expect Jenny to pull out a screwdriver and stick it in him. Then he stabbed him in the palm of his hand and Jack fell. Jenny was saved, but Jack didn't die. He went from being partially paralyzed to fully paralyzed. He didn't expect Jenny to appear in front of him. Ask him if he's happy to see me. I'll be taking care of you from now on. Jenny pushed him out of the hospital. The film tells us, couples should not be too suspicious of each other. Trust each other a little more trust. Otherwise, you will eat your own fruit. This is the end of the film.